Do we have a quorum?
We do.
That means.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense, yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Zach, can we see who is online? Because I think we have some people joining us remotely.
Hey, things that you're existing.
Yeah, and so that's gonna be my day right now. I know. Yeah, those, Zach, if we can just. Yeah, there's three. And all that, in this for us, the media piece of it. Yeah. So there you go. I'm happy with that.
Whatever happened to you?
It happened and nobody was, there was like 30 of them, but they did it on like a Saturday afternoon. Nobody was around. They were on, what's it called, main gate,
Store on University. That parking lot, Prospect Building, and they took all the fence down of the sidewalks, so they had to move down the street.
Oh.
Farther away from the French Hills Home.
How many new stores are you guys building now?
We've got one in, on University that we're starting on, and then we're putting one in, Sarasota. Yes, we have these kids that want us to keep sure go to the, and they work with us, so as long as they're in and they're working, Bill and I'll keep going. It's exciting.
See a business thriving.
I love it. We're building the store here like there's 20 minutes. It's like 11,000 square feet. So we're way inside.
So do you have any
It's all.
special like security or anything for snatch and grabs or? Stay
Everybody is armed.
good.
Nice. You can smash it, but they won't get far after they grab it.
Security guards. We have 3 security guards. One is in the parking lot. So cigarettes. We got like 81 boys right to that. So, and then here we have security guard here. We're very fortunate. Our people, everybody's on. We have code words and different things. So yeah, we have our things. Practice.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm starting at 9.
Right. Just has someone vaccine.
What could go wrong? What do you make there? So.
Yeah, thumbs up.
Something like that.
On the computer, it's showing up. It's got 3 minutes in here.
Oh,
It's just weird. But then the screens are showing.
Surroundings and person from another act. Well.
You guys had some, people come in and train you on this stuff, or how did you kind of figure this out?
We FBI works with children.
Oh, good.
And we go to work every year and they report on, there's a networking, like if someone something happens in the store, they send an email.
Okay, everybody. Thank you. We'll call the meeting to order. Thank you for being here. We have Ebony and Valerie are on line on Teams, but our technicians are working to get it where we can see them, but I think they can hear us. So they're here. So we'll call the meeting to order and let Sharon to call the roll.
Okay, Kathy Boozman, Christina Berner, Judge Dan James,
Here.
David Ware,
Here.
Ebony Mitchell, Jan Zimmerman,
She'll be late.
okay, Dr. Warden,
Here.
Joel Lynch,
Here.
Susanna Grobmeyer, here, Marty Ryle,
Here.
Mayor McCormick, Sherry Jones, Shay Lewis, he's traveling, Tanya Means, here, Colonel Beeson,
Here.
and Valerie Lawson.
So we have Ebony and Valerie. Can y'all hear us?
yes, they're responding.
Okay.
Yes.
But we can't hear them. Oh, there we go. All right, thank you, everybody. Welcome. Shay can't be with us today. There's a National State Parks meeting that he is attending on business, so I'll chair the meeting today. But we appreciate all of you being here and those that are joining us online, and we'll go. I think you were emailed the minutes from our last meeting. You want to look those over? Does anybody have any?
I reviewed those. We approve the minutes.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And I skipped ahead. We need to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion and a second by Ken Warden, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Thank you all. And so, you know, for America 250, Shay and I had a call this week with the team that is working on the America story. And they have a Dodge Ram is pulling this Airstream trailer that's got the trademark on it, and they're touring all 50 states, and they're capturing America's story. And they're going to be in Arkansas in October. And they call and they've asked for our help in trying to line up some people and give them ideas on who they should talk to. And so they're going to be in Arkansas from October 5th through October 8th. And on the 6th and the 7th, they're going to be up in Bentonville. On the 6th, they're going to be at the Walmart original store, and they're lining up people. They said they want people who are first generation Arkansans all the way to multiple generations of Arkansans who have been in the state, or families have been in the state. And then they want people from the community, you know, both kind of significant figures in the state or community leaders or business leaders, but also just every walk of life, man off the street kind of thing. And so they're going to be lining these interviews up in the Bentonville area on the 6th and the 7th. On the 8th, they'll be in Little Rock. The first day on the 5th is kind of up in the air right now. They were kind of thinking maybe, I think they were kind of leaning toward maybe they wanted to get somewhere more in the rural, maybe southern part of the state. So part of the Delta. So they're looking at maybe Stuttgart because there's rice and duck capital of the world kind of thing. But if you have any ideas, whether it be, you know, I mean, Medal of Honor winners or, I mean, significant people in Arkansas.
Dodge Rams doing it, or?
No, it's the America 250. There's a company, I think the company that they've hired to do this is called Stagecoach. And they have a producer on the phone call with us.
But you said it was a Ram with
A Ram Dodge can be pulling the Airstream trailer, and that Airstream trailer, yeah, the Airstream trailer is decked out and where I guess they can interview people inside the trailer. They have the setup where they can sit down, and I guess they have the sound and the cameras and all that inside, but then also they can do some outside. I've got the names and the contacts of the folks who are putting this together. Kim Berryman is a producer that'll be in the field. Raby, I'm saying these names wrong. Malaret is going to be the person in charge of location and finding the most interesting stories. And then there's a couple of other people involved. But anyway, we got contact information. So, but they really want our help in just making suggestions to them of people that might be good to talk to.
John Hunt.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
So do I go?
I think they want us to come up with kind of a list of suggestions, and then we send it to them, and then they kind of take it from there. So, you know, any ideas you have. So again, looking at in the Bentonville area on the 6th and the 7th, Little Rock area on the 8th, and somewhere more in the southern part of the state on would be the first day on the 5th.
And we'll send out an email with Zach's email to for anyone to put a list of names, and that way he can combine them all and get them to them. So we'll send out his contact after to help collaborate with you all on names and best people to touch base with. Yeah, there's some good ones. Mm-hmm.
David, anything else from America 250 you can think of that bears an update of?
No, I got the word for that call, of course, the morning it was happening. Hi, guys, don't send things out on Labor Day weekend and expect people to read their email. I've been in contact with them, getting the details of what they're actually looking for, And you've summarized it better than they did when they talked with me.
Well, fair enough.
You're shorter.
Okay, so, next order of business is the historical marker update. And, so, you know, we selected 6 sites already, and those markers are in production. Arkansas Post, Louisiana Purchase, Bauxite, Bell State House, Crater Diamonds, and the Buffalo River. I was at Saline County for their 250 meeting a couple weeks ago. And of course, Bauxite is in Saline County. And so I was visiting with them about, we have this marker and the significance of bauxite and the aluminum ore and their contributions to World War II. And they said, well, if we get the marker in time, really it'd be a good to unveil it on Veterans Day because of the connection to World War II. And so we looked, Veterans Day is Tuesday, November 11th, which also happens to be the date of our November meeting. And so what we talked about was having this November meeting, our commission's meeting November 11th at the Bauxite Museum. Then we all could be there and have the unveiling of the marker. The Saline County would help organize and promote it in their area to get a crowd there. And it seemed like a good, you know, we could conduct our business that day, and we could also have everybody in the same place to unveil our first Arkansas 250 marker. And so if that
Sounds cool.
anybody have any opposition to that, then okay, make a motion that we have our November meeting at Bauxite.
Second.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Okay. And then the other,
Sorry about that.
what's that?
Who first did that motion?
Dale, I think.
Okay, thank you.
So then the other markers, we're looking at the dates of when we're going to have those. The only other one that we're close to nailing down is going to be the Arkansas Post one, which will be, I think it's March 6th. Is that the Friday in March? But we have lunch and learn or sandwiching in history, where once a month our historic preservation folks have a meeting somewhere or an event somewhere in the state where people come and they bring their lunch and they spend an hour and they learn about the significance of a building or what it may be. And they came out with their schedule for next year, and their March one is going to be at Arkansas Post on March 6th, which is a Friday. So we talked to them about that'd be a great day to unveil that marker so people could come and learn about Arkansas Post, and then we could unveil the marker. So if you want to put that on your calendar, obviously not a regular meeting date, so we just be, if you want to come down and participate, certainly everyone's welcome to do that. But that's our tentative date to unveil the Arkansas Post marker, and then we'll work on the others, which brings us to the selection of additional marker sites. So we sent a preliminary list of just some ideas to consider. And, you know, we could do, we look at the timing and the budget for this. I really don't think we can, probably another 5, possibly 6 is the most we could really do. So I know I sent this list around, and we're not limited to this list. And after we go through these, what I like to do is I brought some ballots. I'm going to pass this around, and everybody lists their first choice for a marker, second choice, third choice, fourth choice for the report. We'll have first is your top choice. We'll get 5 points. And so anyway, everybody have their list. We'll have a ballot, and then Laura's going to tally these up, and then she's going to show us, all right, here's what we've collectively looked at as far as our favorites for this. And then we can talk about them and then figure out if we want to do 4, 5, 6, however many. But I think that seemed like a good, fair way for us to look at this. And I guess for our 2 online, after everybody else has turned their votes in, I guess y'all can tell us yours, or we'll pencil them in, or if you want to email them to us.
They can, I think it's probably best to email them to Zach. Can you send him an email? And we'll send them this picture of the ballot, and they can provide their responses here. And I'll pass half of these this way.
Okay. So, want to have a discussion ahead of time about if people have strong feelings about them and talk about them. So,
Or additions.
or additions, absolutely, because like I said, we're not limited to these. So Davidsonville State Park, in the early even before Arkansas was a territory, 1817, was the first post office in what would become Arkansas's territory. We had the first federal land office in the Arkansas Territory in 1819, and the first courthouse in Arkansas Territory in 1822. So several significant early history for Arkansas at that site. The Jacob Wolf House, 1829, is the oldest public building in Arkansas. It's the last remaining public dog trot structure in the United States. It's also on the National Trail of Tears as a witness site to that. And of course, that's also a heritage property that we maintain.
Can you explain the dog trot?
The dog trot,
I don't know.
you
I'm
got,
testing you, by the
yeah,
way.
you got, it's like a 2-story here and a 2-story here, and it's open in the middle. Is that, David,
It could be 1-story or 2-story, but having that open center is the key factor.
Open up.
Yeah.
That
This
is
is a fancy dog trot. This is an ambitious one.
It is ambitious. It's
Yes.
beautiful.
Now, we have Hope, Arkansas, Clinton Boyhood Home, and I will say we have not sought permission from the Clinton Foundation or whoever manages that site to actually put a marker at that location. But if I think any of these that we adopt and we say we want to put a marker there is probably going to need to be contingent on us getting agreement that we can have somewhere to put the marker. Otherwise, it'll probably have to come off the list. So just keep that in mind. But the Clinton Boyhood Home, Hazard Gymnasium, which is at UAPB campus, 1958, Dr. Martin Luther King spoke there. It was his only public speaking appearance in Arkansas. He gave a commencement speech there. His only other speech in Arkansas was at a church here in Little Rock, but it was for the congregation. It wasn't open to the public. And so, but the Hazard Gymnasium, which is still standing there at UAPB campus and in use, as a matter of fact, has been the beneficiary of ANCRC funds to have it restored and that kind of thing. But it's historic in that Dr. Martin Luther King spoke there. Then Rogers Bentonville, Walmart. Of course, Sam Walton opened his first Walmart discount city in the Rogers area. But the Bentonville-based Walmart is the world's largest retailer in the world. So obviously a significant part of Arkansas history. And of course, we'd work with them on the exact location of that marker. But then Jefferson County, I don't know that we know, David, the exact location of where this occurred.
Ashley and I put our heads together and we've got a pretty good idea. It's not a particularly well-visited spot.
And,
Where roughly is it?
It's actually, the best guess is it may in fact be in, what's the next one over, Lincoln County? Not Lincoln County, but the county that's right to.
Lincoln County is south of Jefferson County.
That would be it then, right at the very northwest corner of Lincoln County where it juts up against the river. But it's within striking distance of Pine Bluff, and
And of course,
within a shot from Alzheimer.
and I will say for markers like this, I think it's important that they be in an area where the public is going to see them. So there may be a better location for it. But if you look at like bauxite, we're talking about the aluminum ore in that city, and it contributed to it, and it really could go anywhere. But we're putting it at the Bauxite Museum because it's well trafficked and it's a good spot for it. So this could be the same way. Maybe, I don't know if there's a museum down there or somewhere but the site with significance, or cite the significance of this in Arkansas history, which was Chief Saracen when he signed the treaty and the Quapaw tribe.
And Terry, you may know, it might even be valuable to just say, I mean, they're doing so much with Saracen Casino and the expansion that it might even be that they want it
I would think
there.
Carlton,
Yeah,
Salta.
but maybe even on their campus
Yeah.
versus like exactly where it is. That might have more significance to
And
them.
they have a lot of traffic through there.
They could. And it could be a historic site.
That's right.
Like we better.
The other one, or the next one is the Daisy Bates House. And again, we have not had conversations with the owners of the house, but but it is certainly a significant historic site in Arkansas. That throughout the desegregation crisis, that her homes became official pickup. And
Hers looks a little different. I don't know if
Also-
anyone else has Daisy, right?
I don't.
Okay, I don't either. So,
oh wait, I brought copies of the one that I have.
okay,
We added a couple from here.
need one more. I was gonna say, you're reading off script.
Thank you, ma'am.
Oh, let me actually.
Yep, sorry about that. The first copy you have is an earlier version. We added a couple of potentials. We have some suggestions and tried to get those in. So on the second page, after the Saracen, you'll see, or Daisy Bates House is that throughout the desegregation crisis, that home became the official pickup and drop-off site for the Little Rock Nines trip and from Central High School each day, and a gathering spot for the 9 and the members of the press. And, you know, one of the things and certainly within the discussion, because anything's open to it, but of course, Central High and the Little Rock Nine was a significant part of Arkansas history, but there are already so many markers there and so much there. And it's a national park site. We'd have to get permission from the national park, which I'm not sure we could get. So if we want to commemorate desegregation and what happened there in its part in history, the Daisy Bates House is probably a good location to do
I
that.
think also having her statue in Statutory Hall brings more significance to the state in that place, perhaps.
Then the next one is something I wasn't familiar with until we started researching this, and this is the Sloan site in Greene County. And it's the oldest identified Native American site in Arkansas. And the cemetery there is around between 10,500 to 12,500 years old. The site is considered the oldest of its kind in the New World, and it was excavated by Arkansas ASU team in 1874. But when you look at sites around Arkansas, if you're looking for the earliest that we have as far as settlements and that kind of thing, that this burial site is the oldest in the New World. I mean, that's pretty significant. Now this excavation site is not open to the public because they have issues with, I don't know if they're called poachers, but people that go and take things that they should not at archaeological sites. And so it's not open to the public, so there's not a lot of public traffic there. But the Greene County Museum, which is in Paragould and in the same county, of course, has artifacts from the site. And so that museum would be a good location for this marker if it was selected. Then, of course, we have the Great Flood of 1927, which this marker could go really anywhere.
We could do 6 markers for that.
Yeah, but it significantly impacted the state and is one of the worst natural disasters in U.S. history. Much of Arkansas was devastated, and a lot of the richest farmland was underwater. So, and it led to the Corps of Engineers to build locks and dams along the Arkansas River. So anyway, it was a significant event that occurred in the state, and we could certainly find a location somewhere to put that. Then we have Hattie Caraway was the first female U.S. senator in America. She was from Arkansas, of course. She wasn't originally from Arkansas. She was born elsewhere, but she did live in Jonesboro. And so that would be a site. We could find a suitable location somewhere in Jonesboro for a marker to commemorate Hattie Caraway and her contribution to Arkansas and the nation. And then we have the Sultana disaster, which of course was the worst maritime disaster in United States history. There's a new museum over in Marion, of course, it's being completed now. But it was certainly a big event that occurred here in Arkansas. So that's the list that after, discussions and visiting with folks that kind of came up with. But if there's any others that anybody would like to put on the table for consideration, please do so.
Marty, do any of these locations already have a historical marker?
Yeah. Looked online, and the wood home, beautiful marker. It's really pretty. And then, the Jacob Wolf House has a historic site marker that's really nice. Hazard Gymnasium in Pine Bluff, any kind of marker there. Or at Davidsonville State Park. The Daisy Bates House has a nice marker. And then the Sultana Disaster has one that's nice and similar to ours.
Does anybody have any additions? David?
A site that I think gets overlooked and deserves more is the town of Hoxie.
Say again?
Hoxie,
Oxy, okay.
also known as South Walnut Ridge, located along a future interstate corridor. Hoxie is where desegregation actually worked, with mostly community assent 2 years before the Central High mess. It's a story that is in some ways very powerful, as well as it being a predecessor of the Central High controversy. And it was the desegregation of the whole school system up there. And the school board went along with it. They originated the idea. Many of the actors who would later become well-known out of the Central High crisis, mostly on the segregationist side, they cut their teeth by going up there after the fact and making a controversy out of the Hoxie desegregation, which had a reasonably high level of community support, black and white. And it's you have 21 students up there, gets nationwide coverage and everything, but the Central High story ends up grabbing most of the attention for good reason. But Hoxie is one that doesn't get pointed to enough. As I say, it's right on a future interstate corridor.
Trying to remember, because the legislature,
Oh, I was just making sure he had it.
the legislature passed a law to allow a monument regarding Oxy.
Right.
But then Charleston also needed to have a marker because they claimed that they and Hoxie both were the first two for desegregation. So,
Which will slow down that marker considerably, or that might.
So which one's correct?
yeah, so is it Hoxie or Charleston, or is there something that's, I think Hoxie was the one that the court case was based on, or is that no? Or
Hoxie is the one that has it gets the biggest attention. Charleston, and I think was it Fayetteville also, they had like 3 or 4 students. Hoxie was the one where you had 21 students involved. So that's the one with the biggest controversy. I think there was a court case as well.
Valerie, did you have something to add? I can't see that far. My eyes aren't that good. Is that a hand up? Zach?
Yes.
Valerie?
Valerie, you need to unmute.
Sorry.
Okay, that's the roll. Okay, perfect. Anyone else have additions to the list? I would add a couple of considerations. I would say Petty Jean State Park being the first state park is a really good one to consider. just with the emphasis, especially that the governor's put on our state park system, but also because we are going to be doing kind of a reinvigoration of the state park for 2026. So we'll be, we're in the process of redoing the lodge. We're adding rock climbing. There will be additional trails with mountain biking. And we're kind of breathing new life into our oldest state park. So that's a cool opportunity. And then the other one that just kind of, when I was listening to all of the different stories, I think Stevens Inc. in some ways is the birth story of Walmart and JB Hunt and all of these big companies, because they helped make them public and they helped financing of a lot of the economic development that our state has seen. And these large companies that have become worldwide phenomenons really started with the belief of Jack Stevens and the story of Stevens Inc. So I do think there's.
And at one time, I don't know if they still are, they were the largest off-Wall Street investment company in the nation. I don't know if they still are.
I don't know if they are. They're one of them.
And they were at one time. They were back in those days when they were doing those things.
There's some history to that. David probably knows more than I do, but.
Okay. Well, before we pass around the ballots and votes, anybody want to advocate or, I guess, throw some shade on any of the.
Sure he has one.
The question I've got on this. These are all
We're all gonna pick
all these sites have
which ones you want to choose.
markers. They have recognition. Our marker just gonna get lost in the.
That's a good question. And I think that's something to consider. And Tony, thanks for pointing out the ones that have them. But like when we looked at Arkansas Post, for instance, has markers. But Arkansas Post, our marker has several things about it. We talk about the Revolutionary skirmish that happened there. David, skirmish, I didn't say battle.
Good man.
It was also the first territorial legislature that met there.
Yeah.
And so there's several things that happen there that go into this marker, but there are markers there about others, each of those probably has a marker there that talks about something that happened there. Although you got the national post site and then the state site. But then, so even if there is a marker there, I don't think we should disqualify it, because this is what we're doing is we have a special Arkansas 250 marker that's going to be different looking than anything else. I mean, it's blue and red and white and that kind of thing. And of course, we have the part at the end of it that the governor, this commission appointed by the governor, signifies this site as one of the most significant in Arkansas's history. And so we're saying that this is what we consider the most historic sites in Arkansas over the course of our history. So it's a different marker and a different symbolism of what it stands for. Now, I think it's certainly worth weighing whether it gets lost if there's other markers there, and whether we're better off putting our markers somewhere where there's not other markers. I think that's certainly something the commission ought to consider and weigh when you vote, but I don't think it should be disqualifying that there are other markers there. That's my opinion.
Well, see, I'm thinking of the arsenal in Camden.
The what?
The arsenal in Camden.
Okay.
It's just since World War II, it's provide munitions to every conflict we've had since then. And it's fairly unique in the state.
I think thinking about, one, I do think placement is important, where you put it as relation to the site, but also thinking about kind of the totality of Arkansas and making sure we're hitting military history and maybe something related to Native American and sort of like, hitting the full, like, so it tells a whole picture of what this commission is looking to celebrate. So that whole gamut.
And if you,
I'm also thinking about like the Southwest Trail. Just the whole trail, I don't know a particular place on the trail, but that was very significant in Arkansas growth. And for that matter, before the Southwest Trail, the trail down Crowley's Ridge.
Ray Road, Southwest Trail, dare I say it, Stagecoach Road.
Batesville Pike is part of Southwest Trails. Those are places I don't know a particular spot.
Yeah. well, I mean, there's a lot of great spots and all of them are worthy of the consideration and the will of the committee. We just have to keep in mind that we got to pick, and that's why, this is the exact reason why when we picked the first 6, we thought everybody can kind of agree on these 6. There'd be a lot of debate when we start going beyond that. It's like when you have 12 teams in the football playoffs, people pretty much agree on the top 5 or 6, but when you start figuring out who the next 6 are, there's a lot of debate and a lot of discussion and who gets left out and who doesn't get left out. And so that's kind of where we are with
So we're
this.
only, the job is to only pick the next 5.
Yeah, so we're asking you to vote and pick in order. Take your top pick as number 1 because he's matter because of the points assigned to him.
This feels like a pop quiz.
Yeah, I know, right?
What is that?
I mean, we could potentially do as many as 6 markers. We could select as many as 6. And I think after we finish the discussion, everybody votes, we tally it up, and then we kind of see where the committee stands. And, there may be one that's, it's got 1 or 2 that are much higher than everybody else, then fine. Then we can narrow the discussion between,
They have a lot with just 2.
Why don't we go ahead and do a 6th one just in case, so we don't have to read.
Yeah.
Your
Okay.
points will probably get you that out of the 5.
yeah,
And are
because
you-
everybody's not gonna vote on the same. So the 6 will be point wise.
This is the final 6, or there are more?
No,
This is
this is it, because we won't have time.
it.
This is
Feels
it.
consequential. Okay.
So,
I think we should go into Dr. Ware's yard to his contributions to the district here in the state of Arkansas.
Yeah, no.
Yes.
all right, so everybody has a list that was sent. We have added,
The Arsenal in
Oxy.
Camden, you may want to type them out. They don't have this. Do they have this list online?
oh,
I'll have,
it was emailed to them.
this one was.
It was
this
emailed,
version?
yeah, at one point it was emailed to everyone. Everybody only take 1 ballot.
Ballot.
You should have military structure down there. You and my things, but sorry.
Thing done that way. Supposed to vote early and often, right?
What's down Hampton? I don't know. What we down there?
They didn't use paper ballots.
You do have
This
this,
way.
why would they think they have
Arsenal in
Yeah. Okay, so beyond the ones that are on the sheet, we've had mention from the floor, Oxy, Petty Jean State Park, Stevens Inc., Arsenal in Camden, and the Southwest Trail.
I'll throw in one more.
Yeah,
The Western Arkansas image. Fort Smith. Judge Parker.
I think the same thing, the garrison there, and it's kind of the whole frontier justice, kind of the gateway into the territory.
I mean, we get,
Which one is it?
he was wanting to add Smith to the discussion. Of course, that's federal land and a federal park, and so it'd be hard for us to get permission to put it there, so I would find somewhere else to put it.
Or we could.
There are several generations of markers floating around there.
Yeah.
On the grounds, you find one delineating the old line that marked Indian territory even.
Yeah.
Do you want to add? Do you want to add? We can and go down that path and see if it's even feasible. And then if not, next one or what have you, if you want to. I just want to make sure, Zach.
I was just thinking about geographical dispersion. across
Yeah.
the State too, that might add something to it, you know.
Oh, Laura, are you telling? That was quick. It's decisive. Okay, is he voting? Did he vote?
We have an additional ballot collector.
Yes.
I think Mayor McCormick stuffed the box.
He found extra ballots. This could be a recount situation.
No carbon paper was smuggled into this room, right?
Oh. Chad.
Yeah, you go for sure.
I feel like I know what it's in room.
There's no lake box stuff, you know. Wait on. Go hanging chads.
There you go. Thank you.
Okay.
Or Dunbar.
Top monster, how about that?
They were 1804. They were,
One there, you get some expeditions, stuff, yeah, DeSoto and all kinds of stuff.
no, they were commissioned same time.
And then I'll go get theirs.
All right, you can leave. Has everybody voted? Suzanne's gonna get our two online, their votes, and then, but while we're doing that, while we move ahead, we'll come back while they tally the votes. After they tally the votes, come back to this discussion and go ahead to the next item on the agenda. And that is the large event update. You know, we've had these discussions and the governor has asked us to come up with some ideas of kind of a large signature event to commemorate of course, the significance of Arkansas 250, America 250 with a big statewide event. And so in Jonesboro, the events committee kind of beat around some ideas and tried to come up with the three that we could mention to the governor. And Dale, you want to talk about where we are?
Sure, and you guys are gonna have to help me fill in the gaps because I had written a lot of this down and I ran off and left it on my desk. So I tried to piece it back together, but I know I missed a lot. So the three ideas, and we're open to other ideas. If you come up with something better, by all means, let's rock and roll with it. And keep in mind that as we share these, we know that each one of these is going to have its share of challenges as well as opportunities. So keep that in mind. One idea was a concert at War Memorial Stadium. The name that was floated was Justin Moore. So a pro, it would be a very large, well-attended event. Con is getting Justin Moore. And being able to afford Justin Moore, and if he would be able to donate a concert, which with their contracts and their spot. I don't even know if that's an option. So, okay, moving on.
But let me go back to that
Yes.
if I could, because when we talked about, there's not one hard, fast idea, like, a concert at War Memorial. It could be, patriotic concert. I mean, there could be other groups or other personalities or, then, there's potential for like you wouldn't want to do it on the 4th of July, but if it was done earlier than that, I mean, you could have a drone light show or something. Again, it's all contingent on funding and what's available, but basically an event that was at War Memorial that would draw a crowd, draw an interest, and be celebrated. So that's kind of the synopsis of that idea.
Excellent. Another one would be to include our military servants and have some event at the Fort Root facility. The pro is very goodwill, a lot of good vibes there. It'd be great to include that community. Con is a small area, and possibly not big enough for the quote unquote splash that we're wanting. And then a Little Rock event focused on the Capitol grounds with a parade and some other events, which is really wide open. We can add to this as much as we could, or we could take away if we had to. The pro is it creates the large splash that we're looking for. Con is the detail management of this is going to be extremely burdensome. For a parade, we're looking at street closures, parade lineups, marketing of the events, parade routes, staging areas. Are we going to have float judging or are we not? We would have to probably hire an event manager and coordinator to handle just the parade part of it, as well as the overall organization of that day. And what else did I miss on that?
Well, I would say that the discussion about the parade was something that we would invite all 75 counties to send a float and a band or cheer squad or something else from their county. And so you would try to draw on having all 75 counties participate and be a part of it. And they could design it as their contribution or their celebration in a float, or again, a band and that kind of thing. And then have that end at the Capitol grounds where you have staging at the state capitol for a picnic and speaking and music and that kind of thing, the family type event. There were two things that were discussed. That one, possibly doing on the 4th of July, which would be the cons of that is one of the things we've tried to avoid is competing with local events. And a lot of these local communities, or quite a few local communities, the 4th of July is their big community event for the year. It's held on the 4th of July. They have fireworks. We ruled out doing fireworks already. Little Rock has a fireworks show. So if you did the parade and the picnic, it would be during the day before that. Another thought was kicked around of doing this event on June 27th, which is a Saturday before the 4th of July, and use it as kicking off the America 250 celebration week. And so if you did that, it wouldn't compete with the other events, but it'd be the week before. So that was kind of the thought process in that one.
It took us about 2.5 minutes to bring these to you, and it took us about 2.5 hours to think about this and piece it all together. So, what are your thoughts? What do you guys think?
Oh, and one other thing we need to add. This can be any and all of these components.
Absolutely.
You have parade and concert. You can have parade, concert, and for roots, any or all. So the all would the qualifier there would be having enough of a manpower force to pull off all the logistics of all. But concert and parade are maybe a doable. And like Martin, got to emphasize, like Marty was saying, we do not want to step on Pulaski County's events, and we don't want to step on these other city events. If you have it on the 4th, a parade, and you're asking wherever, oh, by the way, send your high school band up here while you're doing simultaneously your parade and your event. That's probably a non-starter. So if you want parade participation, you're going to have to be off of the 4th.
And I would just say that, I mean, unlike the markers where we're picking which ones we're going to have, this is the governor's office asked us to come up with 3 ideas to present to them. And so these are the 3 ideas that the events committee came up to present to the governor for discussion. And at that point, there becomes more exploration about, is this doable? We if we're going to do a parade, we'd have to find partners, whether it be downtown Little Rock or Little Rock Convention Bureau or Chamber of Commerce or whoever it may be. There's a lot of work that had to be done to find out, well, Memorial, is Justin Moore available? I mean, is that an option? But so basically what we're trying to do is come up with 3 ideas that we can go to the governor's office and say, here's the 3 ideas that we think, we could pull off and make happen potentially. So obviously if there's a preference that we want to say, this is, we've got these 3, but here's our preference, I think that's fine. But we don't have to, we don't need to eliminate any of these 3 unless there's somebody that has a different idea that would supplant one of those, I guess.
Marty, I think it's important to let the commission know exactly what went into the determination of these. And that was, does it create the splash we're wanting? Because this is something huge and we're all blessed to be a part of this commission. We want to make as big of a deal of it as we can, but with the caveat, can we actually do it? We can want to do anything, but what can we actually pull off? And we don't want to do it if we can't do it 110%. We want to be able to put our signature on it. At the end of the day, be comfortable and job well done. And we made the whole state proud.
Yeah. And I mean, this is a once in a generation opportunity. We've known that from the beginning, as far as from an educational opportunity to events and recognition and celebration of our heritage and our state. And interest is going to grow. I mean, today I still talk to people and you talk about Arkansas 250, American 250, they don't know what that is. By the time we get into 2026, everybody's gonna know what that is. There's gonna be national advertising, there's gonna be national programs. The White House and the national organization, Task Force 250 at the White House, America 250 are gonna be having national events. And there's gonna be building up to a crescendo. And when we get to July or into June and July, I think there's gonna be an expectation that we have something to offer as far as a state celebration. And that's kind of what we're thinking ahead toward. That there'll be a lot of disappointment if there's not something we can do to celebrate as a state. So.
I think that, I think the 27th is a good plan. I think we need to stay off that week before. The kickoff on the 27th seems really, really practical. And I think we need to nail the date down, whatever it is, so we can start checking venues and availability. I like the thought of War Memorial rather than the Capitol, just because there's more open, ample space there. And if we didn't do a float, but we did a tailgate and each county had a booth, or maybe had a float, or we did a float through the War Memorial Park, or, Duggars are there, and you've got the zoo, or if we could leverage the zoo, and that time of year is pretty handy for, especially having a family-friendly event. Some, maybe free or discounted zoo participation or something like that. That feels really cool. And I don't think it has to be one or the other. If we did do a concert, that could be the culminating, 7 p.m. thing to a day's worth of hot dogs and,
Well, if you did it on the 27th, I mean, if you did it on the 27th,
$250 admission.
If you do on the 27th, I mean, it could be, if you do on the 27th, it could be an afternoon, even an evening event, because you don't have fireworks you're competing against. So if it's a war more, you could do a drone show and that kind of thing. One other thing I do want to mention, that I know there's plans, that weekend, the 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, but there's a group planning a folk life festival, that's going to take place in Little Rock, and they're looking at utilizing, up at around MacArthur Park,
The Museum of
the
Fine Arts.
Museum of Fine Arts. And so that's in the planning stages now, but that is something that could be going on in town and partner with or supplant, or not supplant, but complement. Yes, thank you for what we're doing. So it's very early stages, and we just met with them last week to hear what they're planning, and it's pretty significant.
And she got a grant from Lauren Jobs, which she was like, I thought I was being spammed when someone reached out to me.
Steve Jobs
widow,
Yeah.
Reached out and said, I want, if you could celebrate 250 years, how would you do it? And so it's tied to our commission loosely in the sense of it's the same mission. And she really felt like celebrating the culture of Arkansas and celebrating, the dance and music and craft and all of these different elements in Little Rock being the central area at the Museum of Fine Arts, and have something outside that is focusing across the board on something that is unique to us, our culture. And I think it could be something that complemented if we wanted to, MacArthur Park, if we wanted to do something there, and like earlier, if we do something at War Memorial, just knowing that's happening and how we can work with it, and to help that give someone, if they're coming to do our thing and that, it gives them a full weekend of stuff.
Another thing at the Presidential Center, then it could be like a weekend of, or a couple of days.
Or you could do a parade route from MacArthur Park to the Capitol.
Yeah, you could.
Yes.
The problem of course, of having an event on July 4th is that everybody else and their brothers already got things planned, Little Rock especially. And either moving it back or moving it slightly forward gets away from that. One suggestion I might toss out there is there's already a patriotic national observance in June, Flag Day, which is June 14th. It's a Sunday. Picnics without a lot of booze, if nothing else. There's some way to capitalize on that existing national observance that gets often overlooked, but maybe we ought to.
We did spend quite a bit of time discussing that in the meeting, and
Is that just too far away from
that was what we ended up, that it was too far away. That it made more sense to do it a week out, kick off the week. But I mean, there's a lot of merit to that. It's a good idea. We spent a lot of time talking about that, and thinking about it and looking at it.
We also talked about El Dorado has a nice little initiative. They're going to spend the entire week in front of the board doing something in their square and build up and culminate in the weekend. Theoretically, that could happen in the metropolitan area.
Well, Sling County, when I was visiting with them here last month, they seemed like they were gonna have multiple activities during that period, in that window of time too.
Yeah.
So if everybody's okay with those potential 3 ideas that we'll put forward to the governor's office, if anybody does, if there's nothing else to.
A week before, that's just not outlandish to everybody then, right? Because I was worried about like, what a week, but you almost have to do that, have it, that 27th. So there should be some, because Jonesboro's doing this.
We could
Toledo's doing that on the 4th, but there still needs to be something to tie them in to Little Rock, whether it's at the Capitol or wherever. Somebody was talking about a remote, like when you go around the New Year's, there's the fireworks in Australia, something that maybe even that week you can announce. I don't know, if you did the float thing, here's the winner from Paragould, you know, or.
Well, but, you know,
If
We-
there
we
is
could- we
a
could-
competition.
if we can make that a part of our recommendation of the three, that we look at the 27th instead of the 4th and do it as a kickoff event for the week. And if a parade was part of it, I agree that, I mean, if you have 75 counties, and of course, all of them won't participate. Those that do submit a float, then they would have it available for their county parade if they have one on the 4th of July. I think it would increase participation, and it does fulfill what we've tried to say all along, that we don't want to infringe on these local communities and what they're trying to do. So we can put that as a part of the recommendation, that we do it on the 27th, if that's, everybody agrees to
The
that.
absolute best problem. We have so many events
Yeah.
that are complementary of each other, that we're trying to stay out of each other's way, and that's great.
So kind of just 3 points as personal perspective. If I were going to pick one, it would be concert, but not a concert plus. I would be more apt to go to a tailgate, you know, like before the game this weekend, with that thing filled up with spaces and celebration, kids getting their face painted and going to the zoo sometime early afternoon and maybe culminating with a concert. I do think we need to stick to the 27th.
Yeah.
And make that part of the recommendation on the 27th. If we're going to do concert, I'd say concert plus. Another reason I like that is logistics. I'm all about a parade, but logistics of getting all the streets closed and all that, I think we could just contain it in one place. And I don't even know if War Memorial is available that weekend. I mean, have we even checked on that? And lastly, whatever we do, once we get a gov's decision, we need to hire somebody to manage it.
Yeah, no doubt. I think everything, like I said, you've got the concerts, which were kind of participatory. You'd be able, people just attend them. Whereas the concert plus or parade, I mean, people get to be a part of it in some way. I like that, because it's stationary. You get all the logistics. The parade's great, but it's a ton of volunteers, a ton of logistics that goes with that, spread over a couple of
Safety concerns, I mean,
Yeah.
lots.
And if you're anywhere near War Memorial this, weekend, it was so many people, but it was all just, it was contained. It was easy to support. I won't say easy to support, but much easier
Well,
than spread out of it would be.
Let me throw it. If you're looking to attract people from out of town, are they more than likely to come hang out at War Memorial Park for an afternoon? Or if they have floats from their county or a parade, are they more likely to come see that? Is there more of a hook for the outlying districts in a parade than a?
Personally, I'm gonna take grandkids to get their face painted, go to the zoo and go get a hot dog and go to the concert, then it probably.
And that's a valid, it's.
You know, but I mean, at the national level, they're doing the state fair around the mall the week before 4th of July, the week after, and
Yeah.
every state's going to participate. You could do a mini version, if you have something at War Memorial Stadium, a concert, where it may be, but in the tailgate area that we all were at the game that witnessed, I mean, you could ask every county to come up with a booth.
Yeah.
A booth, if they wanted to show their float or whatever, however they want to handle it. That way everybody's got a.
You guys have seen these mini floats where they pull them with little tractors with 18.
Well, that'd be creative, you know.
Yeah.
It can also be nice if, I don't know, from a food perspective, if you could get like a food truck from every county or some, like, to have also not have to worry about how much food do we need.
Yeah.
But make it, each food truck kind of has their almost ability to break that down.
Well, y'all certainly added to kind of what the bones of what we had, but if we could put together these ideas, and if it's agreeable to the commission, we'll put these 3 ideas forward for further discussion with the governor's office, and then we won't make any decisions until we come back to the commission. But this gives us, unless somebody has a 4th idea for consideration, let's take those 3 and say this. I think it's the will of the committee that we try to focus on doing something on the 27th. Everybody agree to that? Okay.
And also by making our event on the 27th, the more I think about this, which we've digested it since Jonesboro, the more I like it. Because it doesn't all end in Little Rock. It may begin here.
Yeah.
Or we
Yeah.
may have a lot of beginnings that started here, but the future is whatever you make it your own hometown. You make your own story your own, which is a part of America 250, writing your own story. So I love it that it's going to be, people are going to have the opportunity to go to their hometown for their celebration on the actual 4th. I love that.
Well, we may have a motion that we present these 3 ideas.
So moved.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Well, we're gonna go next on the agenda, real quick. John Davis is with us from the Prior Center. He's, John, welcome.
Thank you. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, can.
Okay.
So, as you know, the Prior Center is partnering with us on Arkansas 250 and collecting some oral history. And John has a update for us. And so, John, let us know what you've been working on and how's it going?
Great. Well, good afternoon to everybody. I apologize if there's some crosstalk. I'm in the law library right now on campus. I teach, and then I didn't have time to get to my office, so I scurried over here. So hopefully y'all can hear me, and I'm clearly and audible. First of all, I want to thank y'all again for agreeing to work in tandem with us at the Prior Center and also with the Arkansas Historical Archives. About, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago, Dr. Warden through ADHE put out an announcement, a call for 2- and 4-year public institutions to who were interested to reach out to me in an effort to coordinate with as many of our institutions around the state as possible in collecting oral histories from Arkansans as we reflect on the 250th. And I've worked with Dr. Ware as well as Dr. Warden quite closely lately. I'm in the process of constructing 8 to 10 questions that would serve as our scripts or prompts for these interviews. And I'll be sending those to particularly Dr. Ware and Dr. Warden, but I'm happy to send it to the group as well. I held the first of 4 information meetings yesterday from interested schools. Should point out that since Dr. Warden's email, we've had 13 institutions or representatives from 13 institutions express interest in participating with us. We're very excited about. Each institution ranges from 1 to as many as 5 faculty members who are coming up with ways to either integrate this oral history project into their courses or some sort of other coordinated effort on their campuses. So we're very excited about that. We may have more interest in the coming days expressed as well. Yesterday, I met with representatives from ASU Newport. I met with representatives from the University of Central Arkansas, UA Pulaski Tech, and Northwest Arkansas Community College. And they were very supportive and very interested in pursuing a project moving forward. I'll hold another information meeting virtually on Thursday and 2 more next week on Mondays and Thursdays in the afternoons to trying to be flexible with everyone's schedules, particularly teaching schedules on college and university campuses. But I'm hopeful that we'll have a really good group of folks to be working with us. What will happen next in the coming weeks after the info meetings is I will schedule several, well, frankly, each institution, I will schedule with every participating institution training that'll be virtual at first, but I'll extend the offer to come and talk to them in person if that's preferable after the initial training. The training's important, not because oral history is terribly technical, but I want everyone to be on the same page. I want everyone to feel that they have all the tools they need to succeed. And I want the representatives on campus, which are faculty or staff, which we're calling campus coordinators, to know what their expectations are as they can establish those and reaffirm them with their students. So there's things like best practices in collecting oral histories, going over the proper permission forms for interviewing someone, making sure they're informed that the interviews will be archived, down to saving the file folders in the proper way so that in 30, 40, 50 years, folks can find these and access them and find value in them then. We're also encouraging every oral history interview to be transcribed. So there will be an audio record, we hope a photo of every interviewee, and the written record of the interview with each interview that we collect. So if we have, say, a dozen institutions participating, I'm hopeful that we can have dozens of interviews. I don't want to promise that at this point, but I do think that there's a relatively high likelihood that we get a relatively high number, a volume of oral history interviews capturing this unique moment in American history, but from Arkansans' perspectives, which I think is special. We're very excited to be involved and work with y'all, and we're also very excited to work with what appears to be a growing number of 2- and 4-year colleges and universities. One thing I want to stress is that while we're working primarily, not exclusively, primarily with teachers, with faculty and staff in these institutions, and that they in turn will be working closely with students, I'm encouraging everybody to seek people off of their campuses to interview. So my hope is that they will reach out to relatives or reach out to other members of their communities so that we don't have a bunch of 18 to 20-year-olds interviewing a bunch of 18 to 20-year-olds. Well, that gives a perspective. It's a pretty narrow view of the Arkansas experience, and so we want to capture a broader array of diversity when it comes to age and lived experience and whatnot. I'm confident we'll get there and we'll be able to do that. I've established an expectation that the projects will be concluding at least with the students by May, so at the end of the academic year. That doesn't mean we can't pursue further oral history interviews, but it's good to have a deadline. And so we're shooting for the end of the academic year, formally May of 2026. That gives us time to process these interviews, make sure if there's any corrections that need to be made with any errors with the file management, any of that stuff on our end at the Pryor Center. But we're very excited about the interest and the involvement and participation. And my experience with ADHE is when they send an email, people read it. And so I really thank Dr. Warden for being so active in this and encouraging people to participate. I'm happy to take any questions or comments.
Hey, John, no pressure, but we kind of have a theme here. So we only need about 250 of those interviews.
That's a good clean number. I like it.
We're happy to send more high pressure emails to get it done if we need to.
Well, I've got, so the class that I just got out of has 150 students, and I'm offering, it's an outside assignment, but I'm offering the opportunity, and I've got about half of my class that wants to do this. And a lot of them are, from Arkansas, some of them are not. And I've told them they've got to find someone off campus, and it's got to be someone that's an Arkansas, resident at least, or someone that considers themselves an Arkansan. But, we're looking at potentially several dozen from that class alone. And so I don't know if I'm ready to say we'll get 250, but I'm hopeful that we'll get several, and that's important to me. I want different perspectives, and I want students to have the experience of talking to somebody about these topics in a reflective way where hopefully they continue to learn. This isn't just a thing to check off a list for them, but it's a process that they have value, and hopefully they have a better understanding of our shared American values as we approach the 250th.
I sure appreciate you doing all the work on this and bringing it forward. And, I think that just having that 13 institutions already come forward with multiple faculty members, that's a really good response. I'm super pleased by that. So thank you.
And
Thank you.
Is there a public face to this work, and how do you all envision sort of launching that as a capsule of 50 oral history?
Once we get them all recorded, how do we broadcast? And I haven't thought a lot about that. I'm sure through the Pryor Center is one way, but how we make it more
like an announcement that, first of all, that we're
more visible, increase the visibility.
This is kind of where we see the project moving, and then the launch of it. So that's really more food for thought probably at this point.
I would love to see, so I know from at least the U of A Fayetteville perspective, that my college and the university is very excited and supportive of this endeavor. And, you know, what I think would be great, would be to have these 2 and 4 year participating institutions work with their, media, public relations teams to write, say, press releases to those local communities for one thing. And then maybe there's a statewide effort press release that, you know, we could do. And I know at U of A, we have a media relations team that is very keen to, once we've kind of got a better handle on what exactly the scope is of this project, I know they'll want to publicize it. So those are some ways that I think we could do that. The other thing that I've tried to do to broaden our potential audience is encourage, particularly history professors, oftentimes serve on their local historical society boards. And I've tried to stress in the initial info meeting that we had yesterday that you don't have to only be working with students. You know, that you're the leader on the ground, so to speak, at your 2 or 4 year institution for us. And we're gonna give you all the tools you need, and we're gonna work with your students and train them. But if you've got a county historical society that wants to involve themselves in this, then we would fully support that as well. So hopefully we're expanding our potential audience there. But yeah, any ideas y'all have for publicizing beyond, you know, press releases and that sort of thing, I'd be eager to hear them and would welcome any feedback or advice that y'all have.
Well, and maybe it's understanding kind of the timeline of when they might be, you know, tranches of videos ready, and then we can start to think about how we want to roll that out.
Put some of the stuff
Yeah.
back, material back together.
Okay, we'll just keep in touch.
And
Anybody
one
else
thing
have any
I
questions?
One thing I might want to mention
Go ahead,
just
John.
real quick is, so they're audio only interviews. So we're hoping that we get a photograph. We do a lot of video oral histories at the Pryor Center, but we were worried that that would raise the technical bar too high for some folks to participate. And it might also lead people to not want to be on a camera. They might be perfectly okay being recorded, but might feel uncomfortable there. So we've stuck with audio only. But we do hope that we would have audio, you know, available. I think it came up in an earlier meeting. I was asked by a commission member if the material could be used for PSAs or that sort of thing. And I don't think there'd be a problem with that at all as far as permissions are concerned. The problem might be the logistics and just the timing of getting the material back to us in time to highlight or flag, you know, certain particularly poignant quotes that might be used. But we're absolutely comfortable with that. And once the permissions are signed from the interviewee and the interviewer, and they're in our archives, then we would be more than happy to share that material.
Hey, anybody else got any questions or comments?
Are you reaching out to other entities other than educational facilities, like a DAR or BFW or anything of those nature?
So at this point, we've focused only on the 2 and 4 year institutions, and then I've been encouraging them to reach out to folks in their communities that may be of interest. So again, you know, I think the DAR perhaps, certainly historical societies, and then I know there's some already, Senator Bozeman's office in particular coordinates a lot of veterans oral history projects. So I think there's a good point there that we could probably, once we get this part of the project underway, and I will say the reason why I emphasized the higher ed component when I did is it's early enough in the semester where students can get involved in this now. But I do think that it would be worth us revisiting and considering reaching out to some of these other groups as well. And I might lean on y'all for that too, if that's okay. If you've got some recommended groups, particularly local groups or local chapters of statewide organizations, I think that would be an ideal situation for us for contact. But right now I've been leaning on the colleges and universities and using their contacts to then reach out to those other groups outside of their student base.
And Colonel, I think where we're focusing now is the mechanisms by which we're going to get the interviews done.
Right. I was
Mechanically, and then try to maybe take a list of like target audiences that we know would add value to the interviews. Would be
let's see.
out to VFWs and such.
he was mentioning students that are not Arkansas, from Arkansas, you give them a DAR contact. Or somebody in DAR can marry them up with somebody to interview. But that's what I was thinking in terms of.
It's the same way. She said a public face to this. I was thinking like Craig O'Neill or Rex Nelson, or would they be one of the guys you interviewed, or have them, mostly students though, going out?
Okay. Anybody else? Well, John, we appreciate you and all the work you're doing, and we look forward to continuing to work with you, and we appreciate the update.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all so much. Appreciate you.
If y'all want to, we got lunch over here. You want to, take 5 minutes and get some lunch and bring it back to the table, and then we'll pick back up on the meeting. Want to be good with that? I think we have everybody.
No, lots of good information. This is great.
Yes, and restrooms are right out the door, right around the corner to the lights.
What is going on this week?
She is daughter died. She was like, so, October. We're going to have civics fair.
Like there's something
Good.
for that ice. We have a bunch of them, just in one of those drawers. Whether I'm sitting too much or standing too much, either way, just. I'll be making my back for breath and.
But nothing more awkward than grabbing the mustard.
I've taken my chair away from my.
It is always cold here. I don't know, I always have a sweater or a jacket. Like gosh to do, I have idea.
So that's a good problem.
Did you get a decision?
Right, that, unfortunately, I'm funny.
You read it?
I'm bad.
Okay, I need you to read it.
I'll read it on, it's bad enough to make me wince every day. It's not like standing for very long. Well, Mike riding something.
Isn't it funny that the determination of whether or not it should be taken care of is the person we do that?
It is.
Reminding me, I'm not that kind
Okay,
of.
I'll let you know.
I told my last people were getting ready to pass me the GP again.
I feel right. We're waiting on you.
Sweet tea.
Sure. GP, the gastroenterologist, to the orthopedist, to the surgeon, GP.
Plenty of y'all.
Well, somebody must have some money. That's right.
Absolutely. Just
Thanks you very much.
picking up a pickle.
It's
It's gonna take a long skill.
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Somebody coming in
Nice
that
surprise.
does
Yeah, I thought of you.
You got the restaurant come in, I get all three of them.
Save me later.
You.
Let me get this thing.
I'm great now.
Probably sure it doesn't matter. That would be fire. Have not.
Oh, really?
Like a better than that.
Okay. I'm gonna try them.
Yeah, well, they weren't necessarily that fact it's healthy. Oh, you don't want no bills. I'm set up, I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
A little water. I see it all, what that's there.
Hey man, how's it going? Mine is, they're in a meeting, they're calling the government phone, it's like, yeah, I got anything calling it, but. I say mine is.
So Tanya, I learned that your name is really Tanya. It's pronounced Tanya. How do you pronounce your last name? Mims? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Those comments.
No, it sure is.
Yeah.
You go.
Oh.
Yes, this thing.
Exactly.
Sometimes not the way, so you are.
It was a weekend. I was telling, John, I said, you know,
Yes.
that is
Okay.
so much
Which is.
coming up, and it's like a wedding, sort of, like whatever. Like, you just, you know, you're just experiencing it.
Oh, should I take it? So.
I know, other side.
Shay usually does.
So hard. Was it the traffic or, yeah.
A lot.
Yes, yes, we.
Go to the game this weekend?
So,
See, it does go on behind us. Rather than different locations.
Meeting here, yes.
Are you going to have that in
I am.
I can't tell that they're taking my car.
What's that? Oh, you are? Send me where it's gonna be.
So you want that? Definitely.
I'm not sure,
No,
I'm not sure, with them. And I went last year. I know where recessed, I don't remember.
Oh, it's on the side with the students in the van.
So.
I love it.
Everyone.
nothing
But-
to do.
We came up from
Bottom line. You can do it.
That lighting.
Yeah.
They are.
Every other year.
My mother's in the DC.
Yes. The whole home is.
You're near gate one.
Yeah, yeah.
No, these are games at 11. What time did Bill get started?
Oh, yeah.
Colleges,
Man, they're
not,
doing a good job.
Yeah, they are. I'm gonna do that. police
people,
station.
they're not
So,
college based.
it is, you know, but
Not,
they don't.
not that there's
But it
a.
is economic.
No. I know what you're saying.
90%.
I think I'm done. Oh, you're not, you know. I look at mine and like.
There's a lot.
Yeah. I'll be interested to see what happens.
Yeah, based on the stadium from the south.
He's like, whatever, we did. Yeah. South side's, of course, you know. We just.
Yeah.
Go back now.
Yeah.
Very serious about it.
It's hard to get.
Now,
With the students and say, yeah, I know that.
I don't want to be there today. Just like the west side of Isaac, and I'm super.
Yeah. I'm just all over it pretty good. And I always ask you. So, never.
No, you're, you do. Yes, that's your world. And Other stuff, or the restaurant,
Do,
Okay, that's just something that happened. Okay. That makes sense. That's a wheel.
So, other guys take care of it.
Does he have
Got him an hour.
permit there? What is his? Okay.
Whatever event we approve.
So.
how do you get them auditory auditors as well? This one, last year we had to. I don't know.
So it's not.
Okay, so this is the stadium. And we're on the west side. I think we're second right here.
So this is.
Okay, okay.
Going in games.
Okay. Okay. Okay, tailgate at your house. Okay, well, yeah, send me your address and we'll definitely stop by there.
We've got John Tire and.
Sweetheart.
Yeah. Guns killed when they put that side on him and chopped him. See,
James Alaska. Man, there's.
Had them. They do.
Well,
They saw
everybody has the benefit.
target range truck, that kind of stuff.
It's good, yeah. Actually, right now, we don't have one, but, I mean, there are things we could certainly bring out.
They can do that once.
Yeah.
First thing I gotta do, and then he'll show up. I don't have to worry about him.
Well, that thing passed name now, target range truck.
Broke. Broke, no money to fix it.
40 years too.
Man, that money burned.
I typically don't get something, I'll ring it out. After the mortgage will live it. But we have like gaming trailers and other things too.
Okay, everybody's got the food. You want to reconvene and keep things moving and feel free to talk with your mouth full. Okay, so next on the, we have, Isaac's here, but Brandy's not here. We have Amber with us. And so we'll turn it over to y'all for an update on, or for the education. And of course, Ken, the chairman of the report, so, or committee, anything to add? Okay, floor's yours.
All right, so I'll go ahead and get started. Just with an update. Last week, I don't know how we were able to coordinate this, but somehow we managed to get 2 secretaries and a commissioner all in the same place to video some promotionals that we're going to start running to advertise the America 250, the Department of Ed's website. So we brought out a film crew from Arkansas Ideas with PBS and AETN. And we filmed all of that last week at the Old State House. Beautiful venue. Thank you to Marty for helping get that location set up for us. They're in post-production. Once they become available, we can run them on socials. There has been some interest in possibly running them as commercials on the AETN broadcast. If not, then that could be, website, social media, different ways to increase engagement and amplify some of the projects that we're doing with this initiative. And I think that was my part. So I'd like to introduce you guys to Isaac Cross. He just came on board onto our team back in June and took over running the day-to-day operations of the work that we're doing with America 250. And so I'd like to turn it over to him to talk about where we are in terms of the content that we're releasing each month, as well as some of the partnerships that we have going on with some different entities here. So I'll turn it over to you, Isaac.
Thank
And finish my sandwich.
Thank y'all for letting me speak. So September, we focused a lot on Constitution instruction because of Constitution Day and also Celebrate Freedom Week. So a lot of our resources are centered around Constitution instruction for September. One thing at one of the flyers at the Founders Museum, I'm going to talk about that at the end. That's really a good thing that came from the National America 250 Commission that we integrated into our systems. But a couple of updates from some other things that we're doing. So we have these, first thing is the puppet kits. So this is with the Arkansas State Library System, and they actually curate puppet kits that they send to public libraries across the state. And so we're working with them to create a program that will bring students to those public libraries in their local communities and participate in some type of puppet activity or program that will be related to America 250. So we're really excited to get that, and we're working really closely with the Arkansas State Library System to curate those resources. Another thing is the Department of Heritage coloring book. That's coming along very well. So Simeon Quinn will go around with Diana the butterfly and Izzy the bee. And so they're going to look at historical markers of Arkansas and Arkansas 250. And so we're really excited. That's looking really, really good. And it's good progress on that. And so we're very excited about that special edition. I mean, to see Simeon Quinn and that integration for those education programs in the Department of Heritage program as well. We have another thing that with Arkansas PBS and Arkansas Ideas, we've partnered with them to create books centered on the Mystery League that they've created. So Simeon Quinn will follow Mikey and Millie. Mike and Millie.
I've told you guys about Mystery League, have I? Okay, so yes.
Yeah, so we're excited. They've written these books, and we've gotten the first drafts of them, and they are fantastic. And so we're really, really excited about those books. They're still working on the illustrations parts of those books, but they'll be fully aligned to Arkansas standards for students, and we'll be able to follow kind of integrate Mystery League with Simeon Quinn. So that's a really cool program.
And I want to interject because when I first, and I'm just going to go ahead and say it out loud and confess, when I read the 2 drafts of the books, I cried a little bit. Number one, because I think we all feel the gravity of the work that we're doing and what we are putting forth, you know, with America 250 and the part that we get to play in this. But knowing that there's just not a whole lot of books out there about Arkansas for kids, it was a bit of a moment just to know that this is the work that we're starting to see the fruit of that labor. And so I'm gonna get it wrong, but I think it's Millie and Simi are gonna explore bauxite, crystals, and diamonds. They're doing a rock hunt across the state. And then Mike and Quinn are going to visit the Arkansas Post and the old State House all the way up to the state capitol. And so they're doing a journey across the history of Arkansas. And again, these are going to be materials that are for our K-2 students, and looking at the different resources that we can provide. Every student will have digital access to the books, and then we will have a run printed for us to actually send to the schools. But again, it was a pretty great moment to see some of these things come to life.
Absolutely. Yeah. And they're really good books. So we're excited about those. And then the last kind of big update is, so the the America 250 Commission, the National Commission, created this Founders Museum. Many of you probably have seen it, but they've curated this kind of exhibit with 56 signers of the Declaration of Independence, as well as 6 ladies of the Revolution and 20 key events that shaped American history. And so we were able to take those resources and create really good guidance documents for teachers across the K-12 space to be able to use this exhibit in their classrooms. And so because social studies teachers, they have to teach Constitution instruction in Celebrate Freedom Week, which is the last full week of September, as well as Constitution Day. This is a really, really good resource for social studies teachers across the spectrum because they can pull this guidance and start using it. So there's 2 parts. We have a 5-part Celebrate Freedom Week project. It is a 5-day project that goes across the entire week using this exhibit. And then there's also interactive assignments that are short segment assignments that they can use. It's like an entry ticket or an exit ticket. And there's about 10 different types of ways that they can integrate that in their classroom as well. And so we've created those guidance documents for them. We've curated these flyers for them. And this is a really fun, as a former social studies teacher, I almost wish I was back in the classroom so that I could teach this, because it is a really good resource and it's a lot of fun to kind of look and see that come out in the classroom. That's really kind of our major update. I don't think there's anything else. Oh, on the founders, we are working with community colleges also to create kind of a standing exhibit in our community colleges with this Founders Museum, so that students can, because some districts are going to have the ability of space, they may not be able to have all the portraits or all these different things. And so we're working with the community colleges in the next couple of months to curate an exhibit space in those areas to invite local districts and their students to those community colleges. And so it also kind of does a little bit of both getting students to see the community college opportunities as well as see the experience.
Have you guys seen much about the Founders Museum? That's something you'll.
We talked about it a little bit in here last time, but I'm really excited that y'all are using this and getting this out to the schools and universities. This is the White House Task Force 250 partnered with Prager University to come up with these, and they're eventually going to have all 56 founders. Last time I checked, they had like 30 or something of them up at this point. But they're short. I mean, they're 2 minutes roughly. I think most of them. But there's a portrait of the actual founders and they use AI where they're talking and telling their story about the creation of the Constitution, how it came to be. And so they're all great. They're very educational. I mean, if you look through the list of the 56 signers, I mean, most of them you've never heard of. I mean, John Hancock, I mean, there's some you, of course, everybody knows, but there's others that have been obscure kind of in history, but it's them telling their story. And so I just think it's fantastic that you're getting this out to the schools and the community colleges, because it's a great resource and very educational tool.
Yeah, and one of the culminating products that we put out in September around Constitution Week with the 5-part project, the culminating product for students is for them to craft their own declaration of values. And so looking at, you know, the leaders who came before them, what then can become my core values that I want to center my life around. And so I thought that was a really great way for us to take that information and bring it into something that students really could have some rich, deep discussion around.
Okay. Thank you. Can you get anything?
And these materials, yeah, and you, I mean, Ken when his mouth is.
I waited till they did the bite.
Homeschooled and co-ops, are these materials available for them to access?
Yes, it's all materials are on our dashboard and anybody can access it. It's teachers and various students.
Might even be good from the standpoint of like Old State House, and if they're getting school groups to just think about the materials. Well, thank you.
Anything else to add from the committee?
As you could tell, the Department of Education is blessed with some very competent, capable individuals. So thank you for your support, Isaac. And thank you.
Yeah, we get some, in May, your monthly fees. In May of next year, if we get some synergistic effect from y'all building to the 4th of July. Because kids are going to be dropping out of school, and they have a 4th of July, they can get their parents pumped up on food. Because that's kind of our big target date is 4th. So I'm asking if y'all can do something with that. It made things.
So I'm glad you bring that up. You know, with one of our lenses of the student experience arc, it is contribute. And we have asked that contribute be around how do we promote enrollment, employment, and enlistment. And so one of the ways that we have addressed that is through our regional convenings. So this summer we worked through our 4-year institutions. In the fall, we're looking to work through our 2-year institutions. But in the spring, we'd like to offer some convenings around our enlistment opportunities and what that can look like. And so I think that's a definite conversation around how can we be a part of saying in the spring, when a lot of these parades and we're celebrating, you know, all of the patriotic things that we're acknowledging and celebrating, how can we also bring enlistment to the forefront as a viable option for post-high school? And what those pathways can look like.
Right. That's, you're like, with the Guard. Because Flag Day is also the Army birthday.
Right.
That's all, you talk about something you forgot, Dr. Ware, is that's the Army birthday as opposed to Flag Day.
Mike, I couldn't hear what you were saying. My hearing aids.
Flag Day is the Army birthday. So there's a lot to be built around there, a lot of synergistic effects, feeding back to y'all and feeding forward. And that's what I'm trying to join us all here together with outreach and with education. Because if I'm not mistaken, the governor has initiated a lot of Guard training, putting the training in terms of what the soldiers can acquire for job skills. And so that's just trying to pull us all conjoined, a little bit tighter conjoining effort. So y'all can look at that part for us. Okay.
Good point. Anybody else? Okay, thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Dale, events and then outreach.
Outreach and events. I've got some handouts for everybody. These are. You look on page 29, you'll see the article that was constructed. They interviewed me, they interviewed Marty, and I think they may have touched base with Shay. This went out to all the county government in Arkansas. So it went out to a lot of people. Of course, this is the spring edition. I wanted you all to have your own copy of it because we can commemorate 250 with it. Just something good to have. This article was made back when outreach and events was still two separate committees. So we've been very busy as an events and outreach committee. We have had community conversations which have been very productive. Went to El Dorado, and that was our very first one. And what we learned is that a whole lot more than a one-day event. And we're pitching it as more than a one-day event. They're going to start on Memorial Day, work toward Flag Day, then work up to the final culmination of July 4th, which is going to be a fantastic South Arkansas hub for us. We then went to Jonesboro. Jonesboro was an excellent success as far as I could see. We had the right people in the room to make a lot of things happen. One of the best byproducts of these community conversations is that they're not in our hometown, and we get to go all over the state, and we're going together, and we're learning from each other and having good conversation along the way. So it's making for a really good cohesive community. Upcoming conversations, we have Fort Smith coming up, Hot Springs, and then as we're already working on gathering the right people for the Little Rock conversation that we're going to have when we figure out exactly what it is we're doing for the big event. And we're also working on other smaller requests. We have people contacting us. Can you come talk to our group, our planning development district, or our economic development district? And we're making sure if we're asked that we're there because our job is to get the word out about Arkansas 250. We had some very productive booths set up at Arkansas Municipal League, Association of Arkansas Counties. We've now been requested to set up the same booth at the Arkansas Transportation Summit that will be in Jonesboro at the Red Wolf Convention Center, October 27th through the 30th. So we'll go get that set up and work that booth and get the word out even more. Valerie and Tanya helped us, as long as Mayor McCormick and Jan Zimmerman and myself we worked hard on those booths to get the word out. And we've made some very, very good connections into these communities through just having a presence at these places. And wherever you see Arkansas 250, we're doing our job.
And the Uncle Sam outfit is probably the best I've seen.
It was fun.
I may or may not have dressed in Uncle Sam costume.
I think you should wear that to our meetings.
So I may have to.
Halloween is coming.
I would like to share with you all, because we've gradually over a period of time, we've accumulated a lot of resources for our regional hubs as well as partners all over the state. And it happened so slowly, I don't think it's how much we have to offer. For starters, for our hubs, Colonel Lynch can organize flyovers and static military displays. We have the option of statewide advertising on our social platforms, because we now have our Arkansas 250 Facebook page. We've got the Arkansas 250 Instagram page. We've got those linked up and merged the way they should be, so we can get that cross-pollination. We also were informed that we have the option of some of these larger events of having advertised sponsorships made available through Heritage for those. We have access to Arkansas 250 merchandise, flags, hats, patches, you name it. If that community needs access to products, we can hook them up at their own expense, of course, but we can hook them up with that. Access to public service announcements for their local radio stations. We can give them copies, digital copies of the Arkansas 250 logo that they can proudly use on all their promotions, materials, and displays. They can also start getting that digital logo out to their football games, start getting these on their displays at the gymnasium as we roll into winter. And we have some of those digital billboard spaces available for public service type announcements. I'd like to thank Danielle and her team, some people who worked with her to get the Instagram page up and to get our social media presence. It's taken off organically. We haven't done anything to promote that except word of mouth, and it has really grown very well. The more pictures we post, the more things we get on there, the more it's going to continue to grow. So if you guys see something that you think would make a really good post, snap a picture of it and let's get that on there. Give that to me, get to Danielle. We'd love to get the word out even more. That way, if we can gravitate people toward one easy place, they're on Facebook anyway, we can get the word out about different community events coming up in the future. Of course, we came up with the 3 events, win, lose, or draw. It was a great conversation to have. And we learned a lot about each other during that, what's important to each other, and what we think would work really well. Overall, though, I just feel blessed to be on this committee. I couldn't be more happy and proud of people that we get to work with. Even though Mayor McCormick and I grew up together, we were in the same town, it's good to spend more time with each other. And some of you guys I never knew until Arkansas 250, and now I can consider you friends. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Judge. Appreciate that. Feel the same way. Okay, Tanya.
I talked to, somebody at the U of A about doing the Jumbotron,
Yes.
at a football game this season. And then, also talked to the music department about doing a big halftime show, spelling out, have the band spell out 250 and kind of make that a big splash, either the first game or homecoming next year. And then what time does it start in Fort Smith on the 12th?
Do we have that itinerary yet?
But Fort Smith's the 25th.
Yes, it's been moved to the 25th.
Thank you.
The 18th didn't work. We couldn't, the mayor was unavailable on the 18th, so we had to move that one to the 25th.
That was like 10.
Well,
Now, we are going to be presenting to a group from Boone County here in Little Rock on the
September 18th.
or September 18th.
Can you let me know when you can time on the 25th?
Sure, I'll be glad to. We'll get you that itinerary.
And the 18th, we like us.
And,
The 18th of Boone County, you said, it's gonna be here.
yes, Ebony,
Yes.
where is the Boone County event? It's actually here. It's at the museum. Which museum?
If you see Fine Arts.
I've got it in my text.
The MFA.
what was? For what?
AMFA.
Museum of Fine Arts for,
Arkansas Museum on the 18th. On the 18th, they're gonna have a meeting with Boone County. America 250.
yeah,
All right.
So our committee met over the phone in August. We kind of did updates with each other on vendors and efforts and additional prospects to reach out to, as well as kind of a brief talk about the Jonesboro meeting that was coming up at that time. And I followed up with JB Hunt on the flag sponsorship. They were a no for 2025, but I should find out tomorrow. They pulled that from their 26 budget. The odds would be better if it was something that we could order them, go ahead and order them, but then just pay for them in 2026. So if you think that's possible.
Well, I mean, if they're, speaking for myself, I mean, obviously up to the committee, but we already voted on making the funds available from our existing funds to pay for these flags. And I think we're just waiting on a final price from Jan.
Because we didn't really decide on how many, right?
Yeah, and it's based on the budget, but Jan was gonna come back to us from Flag and Banner with what the cost was gonna be. And then we can take that up as a committee but we've already approved spending the funds to do this.
Just the courthouses.
We didn't put,
it's not 75 flags.
no, we actually had approved 50,000 for this program, but that was early on. And that's a lot for flags. So we were gonna scale that back. So Jan was gonna go to Flag and Banner, and we were looking at the 75 courthouses, and then for sure, and then weren't sure how far we could go after that. If you look at, there's been some talk about municipalities. I know really can't go any further than that, but beyond the counties, I mean, we wanted to make them available if people want to pay for them. So if you want one at your school or something like that, you can pay for them. But all that being said, if they want to sponsor that program, then they can sponsor it. And yeah,
We can front the money and they can pay for it.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
with them on that. And then followed up with Simmons, haven't heard back from them. I did talk to Bank OZK. They're out as far as financially, but they may try to work with us on doing some type of CRA project. So perhaps that means veteran group, and they make some funds available or something like that and count towards their CRA requirements, but it wouldn't be a sponsorship per se. And then I felt like, even though Arvest told us no early on, that was long ago enough that they would have been thinking the 2025 budget. I feel like it might be worth it to try again for 26.
I think especially if they have a Parker. Or Walmart, or like just to celebrate.
So in
potentially.
their mind, that's totally different.
Yeah,
I mean, oh, and Walmart,
Well, Walmart's given us and committed, given and committed 100,000.
they have a very big separation
Yeah.
between those two, but I still feel like it would be worth it. I don't feel like I'm the best person.
We can follow up on that. And then also, if I could, Shay and I visited with Tyson. And we had a preliminary conversation with Andrew York, who's our government relations person in DC. We had a follow-up call with him and Jeff Wood, who's up in the Bentonville area. And we presented them with, we gave them an update on everything we're doing, walk them through all the programs we're doing. We talked about anything, obviously we appreciate, I mean, when you look at Walmart's our biggest sponsor to this point, obviously, and Tyson's another big Arkansas success story and a big part of who we are and what we're doing. So we'd love to have their involvement. And I'm encouraged that they'll do something at some level. We presented anywhere from being a broad sponsor of our programs to sponsoring specific projects, to if we have an event, being a food sponsor. I mean, just laid out all kinds of different possibilities that they could explore, and they're going to come back to us. But hopefully they'll come back and be a part of this. So I'm encouraged with what we got from them.
Are we still interested? I know early on we talked about having a video made where we had kind of prominent Arkansas voices and history. Are we still interested in that?
Well, that's part of, I don't know if it's something separate from the America Story that is doing that. And then we got the oral history project. Were we doing something? Or
It was something we talked about really early on, is having some type of, in my mind, I would probably call it a promotional video
Oh, I see.
that we could put out that highlighted significant voices in our state's history.
I want to loop in our communication shop on that, but yeah, because we're doing the PSAs. I mean, anything we can do that would be helpful to promote it, and maybe having some prominent voices out there helping promote it is something we ought to look at. Okay.
I've got a friend that is doing a documentary on John L. Hunt and has a ton of video footage from that. He's also done a documentary on history of water in Arkansas, and he's got a ton of footage from that as well. So he could be helpful if we decided that we wanted to do that.
That's good to know. Give me his information if you would. Okay, thank you. Tell you what, before we go to new business, let's go back up to our marker update.
Drum roll, please.
The votes you're in. So first, finishing with the most points is Walmart. Next is Petty Jean State Park. Third, Daisy Bates Home. Fourth, the Saracen. Fifth, Patty Caraway. And then there was a tie for sixth, Jacob Wolf House and Fort Smith. I mean, we were looking all along about 4, we could definitely do, maybe 5, maybe 6, as many as 6. But since there's a clear vote on the top 5, I mean, I would suggest we take those top 5 and make that our next round. But if anybody has any strong feelings about anything that they want to talk about, that's how the vote came out. Anybody have any problem with any of those? What I like about it is it does cover geographically as well, because you got Walmart in Northwest Arkansas. You got Petty Jean, which is more in the central west. Yeah, River Valley. There you go, River Valley. Daisy Bates Homes in Little Rock. You got Saracen, which is down in Jefferson County / close to Lincoln County. And then we got Hattie Caraway, which is up in Jonesboro. So it's a good geographical mix for those workers. So
Well, Gary.
yeah, good group. So do we have a motion that we pursue those 5?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, any new business?
Sorry.
Okay. Yes,
Hey, Marty,
yes, sir.
when we get to all the towns we're going to, or whatever, did we ever talk about, maybe we did, is it possible to get some of the, got everybody in the same room? Maybe some people from each of those satellites or whatever we're calling them? Or is that just too many people?
You mean for when we do the unveiling of the marker?
Yeah, well, no, I'm off the marker. I'm just,
Oh,
in general, like, you know, you run into people like in Jonesboro, man, we need this guy in this room. It's a lot of, some of these problems that we're facing might be solved by some of those, like we need to get Yarnell's involved. Is that just, I mean, I don't even know if we discussed that. Once we go to every town that we talked about going to. And then meeting, you know, and then, you know, a couple of 3 people from those places wanted to come and, you know, everybody here meet them, say, here's what we're doing in this, you know, I don't know, maybe logistically impossible.
Is there any time when those folks are all in the same place at one time already, like a municipal thing or association of counties or something like that?
Well, I was thinking pretty soon, I mean, come we get last stop. But I don't know.
Assume that them or trying to pull them on or something.
You know, that's something we can do as a committee too, since we're.
Yeah.
Yeah. What we can do to facilitate that, and we're all about communication and getting the word out and getting as much support as we can. And anytime anybody, excuse me, has any ideas of things we can do.
Well, I think, yeah, just at some point it makes a spearhead because you're still kind of floating around, well, that'd be good, or we're going to do that. You have everybody in the same room, say, we're definitely going to do this. We'll definitely be there on the 27th. And we're going to lock some stuff.
Trying to get some commitment by just.
If that, yeah. It's just easier to get. Maybe it's just me too, because it's, too many loose ends.
Well, I think kind of your point, a little bit of momentum, you know, one city or not. Not word, but momentum from collective voice.
You can identify, it's like, I know that guy, okay, yeah, Jonesboro's doing this, or El Dorado's doing that, that dude from Fort Smith, I'll call him. This helps.
There's nothing wrong with a little positive peer pressure.
Right, exactly, right.
I think once we also have the event blessed by the governor, we can get materials like digital things made that you can share and make sure people are aware, and where we're all trying to land the plane.
Can I back up and ask a question of Tanya? So with the finance committee, did you guys, I know you were working on pulling together a list of possible places to outreach their donors, and then maybe a list of possible targets of things to sponsor. Did you guys get to a point on that where that was shareable? I did not contribute to that list because I don't know who to do. Yeah, because I mean, there may be some chance out there that we might be able to find a connection, but I think when we do determine what the culminating event is, then that would be a really good target for.
Opportunity to reach out.
Right, somebody to brand something a little bit, right?
And, you know, if anybody has a contact with any, you know, whether it be company or potential sponsor, I'm happy to call them. I know Shay, Secretary Lewis, pick up the phone and call them, and
You don't have to do the ask. You just.
yeah, you just provide us a contact, we'll make the ask. We're happy to do that. And we did, just like we did with Tyson, we walked through every program we're doing and all the opportunities for sponsorship and to participate. And we can do that with anybody. And
Did you assign dollar values to the opportunities or no?
we told them that basically what they were going to cost. And so that level of sponsorship. So, and it's kind of a wide spectrum of sponsorship, like the flags is 50,000, the Arts Council, which, by the way, I'm gonna give you a quick update on the Arts Council on their old business, but that project's 20,000. So, I mean, there's different levels.
If I knew those, I could something came up. I don't have anything in the top of my head, but just targets of opportunity. If I kind of had that sketched out, I'd help you.
I'll tell off on myself. I thought, well, I know these vendors in this area and this avenue. I'm gonna go approach them, and I was gonna come to this committee and say, guys, we got money for the flags. And that didn't work out too well. So hats off to Tanya and your fundraising group, because I know you have a hard job.
How much more money do we need for the flags? Do we?
50,000.
Hadn't changed. But we haven't asked.
Yeah, it's just, we don't have that commitment yet. There's someone that's interested.
Yeah.
I thought I had a sponsor for just the counties. And that fell through. It happens.
It does. Okay, any other new business? Our old business is a quick update. Sherry's over here from the Arts Council, but we've got we're ready to make the form live for the artists to submit or participate. And the press release is written, ready to go, so it'll probably be announced within the next week or so. So that'll be up, and the deadline to get the submissions in is gonna be November 1. So that project is moving along nicely and on track. And so thank you, Sherry and her team that have worked on this. Any other old business? Okay, next meeting, what's the second Tuesday of October? Anybody know?
Second Tuesday, not off the top of my head.
Tuesday of October.
Second Tuesday, is that the 14th? You're getting the first. October 14th.
Yes, so next meeting will be October 14th. They'll be here. And
And
then
November is set.
And
as well.
then November 11th is the next meeting after that, and that will be in Moxite. Most likely at the museum there. We got to nail that down, but it's definitely gonna be in Moxite, and we'll be unveiling that marker. And so that'll be a lot of fun. That'll kick off that program. Okay, any public comments? Okay. Okay, if there's no other business, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, Judge James motioned, Dr. Ware seconded. All in favor, say aye. All right, we're adjourned.